I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I'm so honored. I get to bring to you fabulous women that inspire me, women that are change makers. They are way showers. They are women that are stepping out into the world saying, pay attention because I have arrived. So you are in for such a treat today. Karen Drucker is here. Now I'm going to read a little bit about her bio, but then I'm going to tell you my thing, right? So Karen's message is all about healing, right? Whether she's singing one of her positive message songs or sharing stories that are funny and inspiring and heart opening. You know, she's also a fabulous keynote speaker. She spoke at our Women Creating Our Futures conference a couple times, and she's amazing, right? She's a retreat facilitator. She's recorded over 20 CDs of her inspirational music. She's the author of best-selling book, Let Go of the Shore, Songs and Stories to Set the Spirit Free. Her chants and songs are transformative and healing. Whether you're wanting to step into joy or dealing with loss or illness, her music lights you up. Her intention is to make a difference by using her music to open hearts, share a message of hope, acceptance, and love. And she does all that. Now, for me, she's like a musical muse. I mean, whatever I need in any given moment, I just go Karen Drucker and I go find the song and I put it on. Karen, thank you so much for being here.
You know, I'm done. I'm complete now with everything you've just said. Thank you so much for having me, and good night. Thank you. Bye. You are so adorable. I swear to God, and you're so good at this. I love your voice. It's just like you just have that grounded, like, here we go. So yes, I am here with you, Cynthia, my favorite person on the planet.
Well, I want to start by, how did you grow up? I mean, I'm sure when you were a kid, you weren't going to saying, I'm going to be like the spiritual musical guru woman. I'm thinking not. How did you grow up?
I'm still growing up, Cynthia. I'm still trying to find who I am and what I'm doing and what my purpose is. I think I've got my purpose. I think I've got that part down. But, I love how spirit works. One of the things I talk about all the time whenever I do talks is that, when you see, you've seen that picture before of the cement, and there's a crack in the cement and this one little flower is coming up, and I just feel like that has been my life, where I just think there was so much cement on me, so many judgments and things that I kept myself down with. And I feel like my evolution has been one of just that spirit kept calling me out in ways that I didn't even know that I was supposed to do. I mean, it was just like, what? Music? I don't do music. And I mean, the fact that, I think you know the story about that Carole King moved down the street from me, and I was the babysitter for all the kids on the block. Now, before that, I was a competitive swimmer. That's all I did. 4 hours a day. That's all I knew. That's all I was going to ever do. And when I was about 15 years old, she moved on my street, and I didn't even think anything of it. I just marched down, knocked on the door. Hi there, I babysit for all the kids. I understand you have 2 babies. Here I am. And she was like, great, So I started working for her, and just all of a sudden it was like, oh, there's this other way of doing life. And seeing her being this musician and this woman doing songwriting, and then she remodeled her house. And she didn't have any place to put her piano. And so I come home from school, and here is her piano in my bedroom. And it was like, you talk about a sign from the universe going, well, you don't know what you're doing, but what about this? And I started writing these teenage angst songs. I mean, just like, I'm miserable, I've got pimples. It was just, I was awful. But I got so much joy out of it. And I just believe that that's what, if we open to it, spirit will start showing us the way. And I think in my case, it was just when I got her piano and I started to say, well, wait a minute, I could teach myself how to play little chords and write little songs. It's like, and that became my life. That's all I wanted to do was music. And when I started to write songs, and here's the thing, She said to me, because I was a terrible singer, I couldn't sing my way out of a paper bag. She said, and what does that expression mean? I couldn't sing my way. Anyway, she said, she said, it doesn't matter how well you sing if you write your own songs. She said, look at me, look at Bob Dylan. She said, doesn't matter how well you sing, just write your own songs. So I just became a writer. And that's how I've always identified myself. Like I'm a songwriter. I'm a songwriter who happens to sing, but I've always identified myself as like, I'm a songwriter. So,
well, and that's quite a fabulous songwriter. But what I love is that aside from the universe, Carole King puts her piano in your bedroom. That was a big note. That was like,
note to self, note to self. There's something going on here. Maybe I should pay attention. Oh, there's this big block of wood in my room. Yeah. So I started cutting classes. I'm like, I just did everything, and I still can't read music. I mean, if you put Mary Had a Little Lamb in front of me, I would, every good boy does fine. I mean, but I started to play by chords and started to write these songs and sing. And then it was like, let me just say yes to everything. And I was going to every, open mic night and, talent show and any place I could get the experience. And I was hooked. I was really hooked.
Well, I'm coming back to that, but I just want to go back to swimming for a minute, because I don't know how long I knew you before I learned that you had a major swimming accomplishment. Can we talk about that just for a moment?
Well, so I was a competitive swimmer up until about 18. Then it was like, I don't ever want to look at water again. I was like sick of smelling like eau de chlorine and having my hair turn green. And then I quit for years. And then, I think I broke up with a boyfriend, and my sister said, just get back in a pool, just start swimming. So around 25 years old, I guess I just got back into swimming, and I went, oh my God, this is like so effortless. And it just was like, it became like this spiritual practice. And besides, they were really cute guys on my team. But then I got into swimming in open water, and I'd never done that before in my life. And I swam. The very first thing I did was I was on a relay team across Lake Tahoe. And there was something about not having lane lines and having someone next to you, but looking at and going, oh my God, I just came from there and now we're over here. And so it all just scaled up. I did Lake Tahoe. I did a relay race across from Lanai to Maui, Hawaii. And then after that, we were all sitting around drinking our margaritas and toasting ourselves. And someone threw out, well, why don't we swim the English Channel? And we found out that if we were successful, we'd be the very first American women to have a successful crossing. So we trained for about a year, and then we swam the English Channel, and it was quite a while ago. But we became the first American women to swim the English Channel in 10 hours and 54 minutes. So that's
wow.
And
you still swim in the ocean, don't you?
I do. I belong to this wonderful club in San Francisco and swim there. And then I'm on a master swim team, that I swim in a pool. But swimming is my spiritual practice, Cynthia, and especially when you go in the bay. It just sounds like a wacky thing to do, but there's something so spiritual about hitting. It's like a portal that you go through. And this is so lifelike to me, that you hit that first cold water, and you can either just go, oh, whatever you resist persists. And you could go, oh, it's so cold. Or you could just surrender into it and just say, just like envelop the cold. And within 30 seconds, your body adapts. And all of a sudden, you're just in this nirvana place. And I look at that like life, how, we can all just hit up against stuff and just go, I want to be done with this. As opposed to just surrendering in and just going, okay, what's the lesson? Or what do I need to do? Or I just need to breathe and get to the other side of it. And it's an everyday spiritual practice for me, being in water.
Wow, what a lovely way to describe it. For those of us who are like, oh, I don't want to put my foot in there. I mean, the thought of just immersing in it and embracing it and it becoming a part of you is quite an extraordinary thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big old lesson to me. And truly, whatever I've seen in my life, whatever I resist persists. And when I just surrender, I mean, I have so many songs about this because obviously it's my lesson. When I just surrender into it and allow it. And what's so interesting about cold water in particular, the colder it is, and it's not, it's not bone chilly. I mean, it's cold, but you can adapt. You get in there and it's like the endorphin rush. You come out and there are no problems. I mean, any problems I had before, they're still there, but they're so different because I got transformed. It's
Wow.
just the endorphins are going and it's just it feels incredible. And so people, I mean, that's the other thing about this. People link up that feeling at the end with getting in. So if you have that feeling of like, you have a vision of what it's going to be like when you're done, that motivates you to get in and breathe into it. So look at life. If you can look at
Yes.
anything you're going through and just say, but I have a vision. I mean, even clutter clearing, which is another one of my passions. If you can imagine that room or that garage or that spare bedroom that has all the crap in it, that could be your art studio. That's what is like, I call that the lifeline. That's what you have, that vision, and it'll make you go through getting rid of stuff because you have that vision of what it's going to look like or what it's going to be to you or what it's going to feel like to you. That it's my art studio now.
I love that. That's ladies, I hope you're listening because by casting the vision, you get to move in the direction of it. That's exquisite. So I want to know how you became Karen Drucker, spiritual songstress of all times.
Of all times.
Of
Anywhere
all
of all time, I am the spiritual songstress, and I will claim that title because Cynthia James just gave it to me. It'll be on my new website, Karen Drucker, spiritual song. Well, you know what's interesting? I'll tell you how I got there. And I'm going to go back to the English Channel one more time because one of my favorite stories I tell about the English Channel is that I was the second swimmer. And you have to know that when you swim the English Channel, you don't just like plop in the water and go. I mean, you have a boat, you have a computer, you have maps, you have like, everyone's on the boat. But when each person swims an hour at a time, and I was the second swimmer. And what's so interesting, and this is why I love telling this story, you literally have to sign a waiver saying, yes, I understand, Karen Drucker, that if a tanker ship comes and, cuts me in two, I've agreed to this. Yes, thank you very much. Here's my form. But what happens is I was the second swimmer, and that's in the main, you're, a couple miles out, that's the main shipping channel. But why I tell this story and why I love it so much is it's so about life that a tanker ship needs to know a mile out that it's going to make the slightest right turn. So in other words, you have to sign that form because if all of a sudden the tanker ship is right there, it can't take its wheel and go like this. It needs a mile out to start to do this. So the idea that anything you want to do in your life, including me looking at, wow, I'm having all these little jobs that I do, but I really want to be a singer and I want to write spiritual songs. And what do I do? It's like the seed has to get planted and watered and cultivate that soil for it to slowly start to move in the direction. I think a lot of times when people go to retreats, they get like, okay, tomorrow, as soon as I'm done with this retreat, these huge changes are going to happen. A lot of times life doesn't work that way. A lot of things have to, I mean, sometimes it can, but things have to kind of change and move and, go to support the vision. And so the idea that you have this tanker ship that is, it's like you have this vision and it's going to start to move in the direction in that way. And that's what it was for me. I mean, I knew that there was something more. I was truly that little flower coming out from the crack because, I could take it way back, but if I even just go into my 20s, I was singing rock and roll and blues and jazz in clubs and private parties and singing Evergreen in New York and Disco Inferno. That's what I was doing. Thank you very much. And, I just got to this point where it was like, I would go to the bathroom and I would cry. I would just cry because I would just go, I know there's something more and I have no idea what it is. No idea. But I kept planting the seed that there's got to be something more. There's got to be a way that I can be used that is more than singing New York and Disco Inferno. And again, tanker ship, it's like you just keep planting that seed. But again, it's that concept of treat and move your feet, like pray for it, do stuff, but do stuff. And I started to really look at, well, what do I want? And I asked myself that question every day. What do I want? What do I want? And I kept seeing, I mean, it's so funny. I find journals now. And, back then I was so longing to just express. It wasn't so much that I wanted to be a star or I wanted to be famous or have money. It was just, I can feel in that little girl's writing just this need to just, that there was more to me than what was being used.
Mhm.
And how I got here, you know, tanker ship, all these movements of, going, oh, here's this new thing that's being presented. I guess I'll start to move in that direction. Oh, here's this new thing. And you know what I love? I love discontentment, because where
Yes.
I used to freak out about it and get really upset, now it is my, and I'm going to say the word trigger in a positive way. It is now my trigger that my spirit's going, hello, may I have your attention? Hello. Because where something was going along and I'm fine doing this job, I'm just doing it. But all of a sudden, I start to have these little tweaks, and someone will say something to me, and I'll just go, oh, that hurt. And I'll just start to get pissy. Not, I'm professional, I'm doing my job, but I'll start to feel these knots in my stomach. Do you know what I mean? You
I
get those
totally do.
knots. And
Totally.
and I now know that that is spirit going, wake up, little girl. Tanker ship is starting to move. And that's another reason why I wrote, I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And the bridge of that song says, I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. So that tanker ship could be moving, but you could do it at your own level. You could see that, okay, I want to go over there, but I don't feel ready yet, or I'm scared. And life and the universe will just keep plopping people and books and music and all these things in your way to keep supporting you and guiding you there. So to answer your question, it was this kind of a path,
Yeah.
and I always ask myself, what does my heart have to say? Am I using myself to the fullest ability of who I am? And that's what led me to be a speaker and do retreats and, all these different things that were not in the plan at all for me. I was a
Right.
musician. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, but not really, because here's the thing. I remember, I think maybe the first song that I remember singing and playing of yours was The Face of God. And I remember thinking, this woman has tapped into the deepest desire in anyone's soul, to be seen, to be recognized, to be honored. And then I started listening to these other songs you're doing, and every single one of them, for lack of a more articulate way of saying it, it's like every single one connected to a human desire to be whole, to stand in their awareness. So yes, it may have been like this, but even as you were creating each one and each new CD and each new song and each new chant, it it was an answer to a human cry.
Yes. Yes. Beautifully, beautifully said. And it was my own human cry. It was my own. I mean, I always say whenever I start a concert, you all get to see what my issues are, because that's what I write about. But what I've noticed, what happened is the more vulnerable I became to myself and said, all right, what do you really need to say to yourself right now? What is the truth of what is happening? And whether it's a money issue or self-esteem issue, or I'm not pretty enough, or I've all that kind of crap that would come up, I would write an affirmation to it and it would turn into a song. And what I soon found out is the more I got in touch with what it is that I needed to say to myself, that's when people started saying to me, you're talking right to me. You're saying what it is I need to say. Thank you for saying that, because that's exactly what my issue is right now. And so I really feel like, my writing is very selfish in a way, because it's my therapy. It's like, what do I need to say? All is well. I am safe. I can rest. All is well. I'll be gentle with myself. I mean, all these things are things that come up for me that I have to affirm. And it's obviously true for other people that they need my issues too, or they have my.
So, so I am acutely aware that you are funny. When did you know you were funny?
When I was younger, I was really a geeky kid. I mean, I had acne and braces and I was straightening my hair and I was just really a drip. But what was interesting was, when you're in elementary school, well, I think it probably starts in elementary school, you start to find what are your, I guess for lack of another word, superpowers. What are the little things that will get people to notice you or to feel included? And I was just, funny is not something I think you learn. I mean, it's just I came, my father's from New York, so I mean, I had that part of, me in there. And I started to realize that, wow, me just kind of being who I was, just being funny, got me into the circles, and had the guys. I was in a really interesting place because I wasn't so great looking. I was able to be really good friends with the boys because I wasn't threatening to the girls because I'm not going to take their guy away. And so I had this little niche if I was funny and included in with all these all the cool groups. And then as I got older, I just noticed that just it was so natural for me to be in plays and do, I started off as a stand-up comedian. I was doing musical comedy starting in San Francisco. I mean, years ago when I first started, I was with Dana Carvey and Robin Williams and
Wow.
all these people were playing the same clubs as me. But it was interesting because when the spiritual path came along, and it was really a choice because if I was going to go the comedy route and really make my living as a comedian, it's interestingly enough a very lonely and sad life. I mean, most of the comedians I knew were so depressing as in real life. I mean, their comedy
Mhm.
was a way of dealing with their lives, and it just felt like that's not what I wanted to do. And I started to move along this path and started to realize that if I use my comedy, like, especially in my shows, as a way to open people's hearts, it just like if we can laugh together and bond and there's no division, there's no, political parties with laughter, you're just laughing together. That's when I can go in and I can drop down after, 4 or 5 comedy songs and then do Face of God and You Are Loved and, all those kinds of songs because people are open. So now to me, it's one of my favorite things to do these comedy songs and combine them with the deeper stuff.
Well, it's incredible to witness. I mean, when you were speaking at our conference, to watch just the seamless ebb and flow of the comedy and the music and the invitation for people to step into who they've come here to be. I mean, it's really beautiful. So what are you working on right this moment?
Well, in this whole COVID time, everything went up in smoke, all my gigs. But what was amazing to me was this platform that I had so much resistance about. It's like one of my girlfriends said, this pandemic is going to cure you of your technophobia. And God bless it, because I kept saying yes to anything that came in. I learned how to do it, and so now I'm doing these women's groups. I'm just calling them women's gatherings. I'm doing one based on my book right now for 7 weeks, but it's just I realize we're talking about my book, but we're just getting together. We're just women. Just I mean, like with all the women that you're with, they need a place to be able to connect and be seen and heard, and that's so I'm offering things online and I'm really loving it. I mean, hopefully next year I'll be able to do more stuff live, but at this point I'm just doing online stuff. And then every month I do a thing called Second Sunday Sacred Sing at 6. Say that again. Second Sunday Sacred Sing at 6, where I'm just having it be that for an hour people can just come and sing with me. It's all free. I
Oh,
just really have gotten that we need to connect and we need to sing
you
together. And
do.
that's, if that's what I can offer, that's what I'm doing right now. So,
Well,
yes.
I love it. Okay, first of all, before we go any further, how do people find you and your music and connect with you? How do they do that?
So my website is karendrucker.com. And if you sign up on my mailing list, I send out a monthly newsletter where I send out a free song every month. And that's when I write a little essay every month, but that's where all my calendar is and stuff. So yeah.
It's beautiful. If you haven't fallen in love with her music, all it takes is one click and you're hooked. I just want to say that. So I do ask one last question, and then I'm going to ask something else of you. So the last question I ask
Last
is,
question. Come on, we're just getting going here, girlfriend. Had fun to talk to you. All right, what's your last question?
this show is called Women Awakening. What's the importance of women awakening?
When we're awake, we're present. When we're present, we can see people. When we can see people, we can be kind. And when we can be kind, that person is hopefully kind to the next person, and that person is kind to the next person. And from all it starts with is you and your open heart. That's how I think we heal the world, is that we're awake enough to be present, and to, when you're awake, it also is the ability to look at I talked about the field before, like the field where you're planting your possibilities. It's also, to be awake, you have to be able to be willing to look at the weeds and look at what's not working and what do you want to say no to and what is just old. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is, stop watering dead plants.
Yes.
It's like to weed out the people, things, situations, whatever, that no longer serve you, so that field of possibility is just clean and clear. And to me, that's when you start to plant all those different little seeds of ideas of what you want to do. And when they sprout and they come up, you're awake, you're alive. And to me, that's what this whole world is about, is all of us being sensitive and sweet and kind to each other. And that only happens with us being awake to ourselves first.
Couldn't have said it better. Lovely. So I'm going to say a little closing thing to the ladies, but how I would really like to close is for you to just do a little serenade to the women, whatever you want. So I will do my little closing, and then you'll get to be our closing. So
Okay,
ladies.
wait, before you do that, so can I just tell you what an inspiration you are to me? That all that you do, I mean, because we've been friends for a long time, and to see the growth that you've gone through, of the things that you've had to let go of, big things you've had to let go of, jobs and moving and, all the different things you've done to get to this point where, see, like, to me, you're an example of you've worked on yourself so much, and you're so awake that from that that filled up cup, you spill over to all the women that follow you. And to me, it's, and again, those women get inspired by you, then they're inspiring other women. I mean, that's what creates it. But you're just an inspiration to me, Cynthia James. I just really, really, I hold you up in such high esteem of just the qualities you have are what I mean, I know I'm doing them, and you're going to go, oh, you already do them, but I aspire to be, to live in that way. And you just inspire me. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, I'll stop.
Wow. Well, thank you. That touches my heart deeply, really. So, ladies, what I want you to know is the authenticity and the freedom of expression that you witness as Karen Drucker lives in you. You are authentic. You are beautiful. You are powerful. You do have a voice. And you can plant those seeds in that field and begin to understand that it may not be a straight line, but it's moving you in the direction of your dreams. So thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're on Amazon and YouTube and iHeart and iTunes. Please subscribe, bring your friends to meet all of these women. We do it every single week. So I love that. And so I'm going to close by letting Karen sing to us, because, oh my goodness, everybody just sit back and open up.
You know what? I'm going to do this. I was going to do something else, but I want to do this instead. So, because you just said this, so I might have done this at one of your conferences, but I'm going to just do it a cappella today. Just saying, you are, so you are beautiful. You are powerful. So I'm going to say I am beautiful. I am powerful. I've let go of my past. So you're just going, I've let go, just throw it away. I've let go of my past and celebrate who I've become. So this is what transformation looks like. Who I've become can be like that fast. I am beautiful. I am powerful. And I celebrate, woo woo, who I am. And this is who I am, is this going into that field of possibility, whatever is coming from your lips. So the melody is simply, I am beautiful. I am powerful. I've let go of my past and celebrate who I've become. I am beautiful. I am powerful. And I celebrate who I am. Do that again. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I've let go of my past and celebrate who I've become. I am beautiful. I am powerful. And I celebrate who I am. Let's do that again. And I celebrate who I am. And I celebrate who I am. Now take your arms and give yourself a big hug and just say, yes, little one, you're so fabulous.
Thank you, Karen Drucker. I love you madly. Ladies, we will see you next time.